along the golden beaches of California, where the sun melted into the waves and American youth was at its zenith, a band emerged that would define an entire generation, the Beach Boys. Their anthems to love, freedom, and youth shaped the collective imagination, transporting listeners to a paradise of endless summer. But behind the sunny melodies, there were shadows, and no shadow was darker than the one looming over Dennis Wilson, the band's drummer and the group's rebellious spirit. Pet Sounds, the peak of creativity, and Dennis's personal abyss. The tone becomes more introspective. Soft string sounds and vocals from Pet Sounds are used to evoke the genius of the era. Dennis Wilson's true spirit wasn't in the Manson cult, nor in songs of sadness and obsession. It was in Pet Sounds, an album that would forever mark popular music. Dennis wasn't just another band member. He was now at the center of an album that would become one of the most celebrated in rock history. But there was a growing division within Dennis, the tension between his creativity, his fame, and the ghosts of the past. In Pet Sounds, Dennis found an outlet for his own demons. The soft melodies, the complex harmonies, the cinematic arrangements he helped create are an escape from the pains that tormented him. However, while the world marveled at the beauty of the music, Dennis plunged deeper into the darkness of his personal life. His struggle with alcohol, emotional dependence, and immersion in a cult that would later become infamous. This is the tale of a man who walked the line between light and shadow, between the spotlight and the darkness, a narrative of fatal encounters, betrayal, manipulation, and music. But that same vibrant energy hid an emptiness that Dennis tried to fill in every way. Sex, drugs, endless parties, and dangerous friendships. This relentless quest for excitement led him to meet Charles Manson. It was 1968. Dennis was cruising down Sunset Boulevard when he noticed two blonde girls walking barefoot. He pulled over and offered them a ride. They hopped in without a second thought. Their names, Patricia Krenwinkel and Ella Jo Bailey. What Dennis didn't realize was that these girls were part of something bigger, something dark, something called the Manson family. The girls said they had a friend who was a true musical genius, a prophet of modern times. They called him Charlie. Dennis was curious. He liked new experiences. And when he finally met Charlie, the connection was instant. Charlie wasn't just an aspiring musician. He was a snake charmer. He talked about love, revolution, and freedom with an intensity that hypnotized. Dennis was fascinated, and without realizing it, he opened the doors of his house to a monster. At that time, Manson was desperately trying to have a career in music. He believed his songs were divine, destined to change the world. Dennis helped him record some of them, using his studio and his contacts in the industry. But Manson wanted more. He wanted fame. He wanted a contract. He wanted power. One of those songs was called Cease to Exist. Manson presented it to Dennis with a gleam in his eyes, convinced it would be a hit. Dennis listened, liked the melody, but changed the lyrics and re-recorded it with a new name, Never Learn Not to Love. The song was released on a Beach Boys single in 1969, without giving credit to Manson, without asking permission. When Manson found out, he was enraged. He not only lost credit for the song, but felt deeply betrayed. Anger surged within him, and it was from that moment that his frustration began to morph into violence. Dennis never fully recovered. His life became a cycle of self-annihilation. In 1983, he drowned in Marina del Rey, in an accident that seemed more like a sealed fate than mere chance. Dennis Wilson lived as a man without limits. He loved music, lived intensely, and spiraled into self-destruction. In the end, he became a legend not only for his music, but for his tragedy. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for more behind-the-scenes rock content. Leave your comment and share it with fellow music lovers.